Today is 9/11, 18 years, 2001. And I'm reminded of what Rabbi said when she said that for the first time in maybe all of human history, 3,000 people were murdered on one day, and every one of them, or many of them, were able to leave last messages to their loved ones. We have the recordings of voice messages of thousands of people who made their last phone calls, knowing that their life is going to end in minutes or even seconds. And she said that when you listen to all these thousands of voice messages that were left from hijacked airplanes, from burning buildings, Twin Towers, the Pentagon, it's fascinating that no one called their lawyer, no one called their accountant, no one called their stockbroker to say, make a last trade, sign a last contract. Every single one of them called their loved ones, their family members. And they all said the same three words: I love you, I love you, I love you. And as she said 11, to turn to our loved ones and say, I love you, because that's the most important thing we could ever say in our life. Today, there are three things we have to do. The first thing we have to do is remember all the victims, thousands, over 3,000 victims who died. People who went to work thinking it would be a normal day, they would come home to their wife and kids and never came home. And we have to realize that it's not just something that happened 18 years ago, it's something that goes on till today. This morning there are children who grew up without a father, who woke up without a mother, husbands who woke up without their wives, wives who woke up without their husbands, parents without children, and they've been suffering every day because of those tragic events. I'll tell you that I was just at the JLI retreat, and there's a Jewish lawyer, his name is Ken Feinberg, and he was appointed by the government, federal government, to give out money to all the victims, to help them. And he wrote a book called How Much is a Human Life Worth? Because he had to calculate, based on people's family size and income, how much money to afford them. And he wrote a book about the grueling experience, and he spoke about it. And he tells a story that this woman came to him, her husband was a firefighter, he died that day, and the determined number was $2 million they were going to give her family. And he told the woman the news, and the woman started crying, and the woman said, I need the money in 30 days. He said, it's a little quick, 30 days to get you the $2 million. What's the rush? She said, I was just diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and the doctors gave me 8 weeks to live. I need the money in 30 days so I could set up a trust fund for my kids, because they're going to have no parents to take care of them. And he said he went down to the treasury and issued the check immediately, and he said he gave her the check, and 6 weeks later the woman died. So there are kids who are growing up as orphans without any parent because of these tragic events. So the first thing is remember all the victims, and we pray for their souls, and we remember their sacrifice on this day and the face of evil. But on the other hand, we remember the face of goodness and courage and righteousness. Remember all the people who, instead of running away from the buildings, ran into the buildings to save lives. And I don't know if you know this, but who was the first victim to die as a result of the attacks of 9/11? There was an Israeli by the name of Daniel Lewin. You can look this up and verify this. It's fact. He was on flight American Airlines 11, American Airlines Flight 11. He was flying from Boston to California. He was an Israeli, 31 years old, married with 2 kids. He had graduated from the Technion. He started a big technology company, and he was studying at MIT to get his PhD. And he was on that flight. He was sitting in seat 10B. And when he saw the 4 attackers, the Saudi terrorists, jump up and attack the stewardess in the front of the plane, he was a commando in the Israeli army in Sierra Matkal. He went up and he attacked the terrorists to try to wrestle them to the ground. And they immediately slit his throat. And the stewardess from the back of the plane called into the headquarters and said, passengers sitting in 10B tried to stop the terrorist, and they slit his throat. It was the first person murdered by the terrorist on 9/11. And of course, sitting in 10B was Daniel Lewin. And so it's no wonder that evil always finds the Jewish people first. Terrorism began in Israel, it spread worldwide today. And the first person to die was an Israeli soldier, former IDF commando, who left behind a wife and 2 children who was only 31 years old. So today we remember all the brave people who sacrificed their life. And today, if you want to join us, we're going to the police station at 345 South County Road, and then to the fire stations to thank our firefighters and first responders for their sacrifice every day. But finally, what are we supposed to do on a day like today? So I had a personal connection to 9/11. My family was celebrating Tuesday 9/11, my younger brother Dovi's wedding. And we all flew into New York to be there for the wedding. And Tuesday morning I went to shul to daven in Brooklyn Borough Park. And when I came out of shul, I saw papers, singed papers falling from the sky, which had flown from Manhattan. And turns out we discovered the horrific news that the Twin Towers were attacked. And my whole family was thrown into turmoil like the rest of the world. And the question is, here we're preparing for a wedding. You know, we're getting ready with the caterer and the band and the flowers and the women were going to get their hair done and their nails. And suddenly we learned that thousands of people are trapped in burning buildings literally 20 minutes away in Manhattan. And my family really didn't know what to do. How do you have a wedding on 9/11 in Brooklyn when there's flames and smoke in the sky? And my brother said, I want to postpone the wedding. How could I dance? How could I celebrate my wedding? And he called his rabbi, and he said, what do I do? And his rabbi said something brilliant that I think we could all learn from. His rabbi said, Dovi, if tonight's wedding was about happiness, then you would have a good question. How can I be happy on such a sad day? But he said, more importantly than your wedding being about happiness and joy, your wedding is about love and goodness. It's about another Jewish family being built. Two people coming together, devoting their lives to love each other and build a Jewish family. And he said, what is a greater and a better response to evil and hate than love and goodness? And therefore it's the most appropriate day to get married, because it's the day that we will say we will not allow evil to defeat us. We will, in the face of evil, show love and goodness and build this world with love. And I'll never forget standing in my brother's chuppah that night, outdoors, and seeing from the distance smoke rising in the air and black clouds above. And it was right before Rosh Hashanah. We couldn't get a flight back. We had to rent a car and drive back to Florida to make it back in time for Rosh Hashanah. And so today is 18 years. Chai is life. And Rosh Hashanah and all of our prayers talk about life. There's physical life and there's spiritual life. And the best way to respond to evil on a day like today is to increase in life, to increase in life-giving actions and goodness and kindness and love. And as we see today, love is stronger than hate, light is stronger than darkness. So say I love you to the people in your life today, do another mitzvah, do another good deed, and we will continue to defeat evil and darkness with goodness and light.